but they've been trying to change the education system for almost 100 years. And largely across the country, it really hasn't. But that's not the case here in Cajon Valley. And reflecting over the pictures and looking at the work that you've done and the risks you've taken, that's why. You weren't afraid to try. And in reflection, I've been here almost 4 years now. I put this picture on one of the slides for my first Welcome Back keynote at the breakfast 4 years ago because I just had a brand new baby girl. Thanks. And so looking at pictures from my first day, this is the day that I was working on the presentation for the Welcome Back 4 years ago. She could barely support herself, couldn't talk yet, and now it's just girl on fire. I asked her, I said, would you let me videotape you last night? And she said no, so okay. But she has a great vocabulary, you have to trust me on that. And then last week, I went on my first field trip without an authoritative role. As a teacher, as a principal, even as assistant superintendent and superintendent, I've gone to 6th grade camp and lots of places where we're in charge. And it's our rules, our policies, and I had to be trained to be a parent volunteer. And they asked, have you ever worked with kids, sir? And I just listened and followed the rules. There are rules like if a child has to go to the bathroom, you don't take them to the teacher. That's a good rule. Watch all the kids, not just your kid. But it made me realize how humbling it is to be a parent in a system where we're entrusting others with the well-being of our students. And then last night, we had a welcome back event for newcomers, for refugees. We had calls from our city leaders saying that we have hundreds of refugees showing up from Syria, from Jordan, from Turkey, and the resettlement agencies can't get to them, and they're just sitting in hotel rooms and motel rooms waiting for somebody to talk to them. So with our community support, we try to get as much people to come as possible to help them register for school so that they're not in the school offices taking up a whole bunch of time trying to find translation with long lines. But really to tell them that we're happy that you're here. We care about you. Your kids are going to be safe in our schools. And so we asked our employees that spoke Middle Eastern languages to come help, and they did. Thank you. As well as several other second, third generation refugees who came out to support their countrymen. And this is a little bit of what it looked like. I didn't want to make them afraid that I was taking cameras, so I tried to make it discreet. And Eyal Bergman, is he here? There he is back there. The place was full for about 3 hours, people coming in and out and just being met. And he stood up and welcomed them and he said, "Marhaba, we're glad you're here, and our schools are going to be better because your kids are in it." And there were tears. It was really emotional to see not just our newcomers, but our second, third generation families who have come from other countries hear those messages from our staff. So thank you. And the reason I show that is we serve such a diverse population. And these folks, there were parents that were here for this, they've only been here 20 days, 30 days, 2 months, and really not sure how to be an American, not sure how to navigate society, not sure who to trust. from government organizations. And so we as American citizens, we know how to navigate the system. At my daughter's preschool, I know who to ask. I know basically how to survive in getting resources. And this is something that we have to educate our community about. And I thought about, are we providing the best education for our kids? And I don't think we're there yet, but I think we're on to a good start. Last year, we were recognized as one of the members of the League of Innovative Schools. Only 73 school districts in the United States are beacons of excellence for 21st century learning. And this is a video that they made for us, actually FIFO Films along with Digital Promise, based on their visit. We had school leaders from across the country, as well as the US Department of Education here, and these are some of the things they saw.
When we look at schools across the nation, Cajon Valley is on the cutting edge of using technology to support learning for students in a variety of ways, not just replacing former paper, pencil, and book tools, but using the technology to help students create, think critically, collaborate, and communicate with their peers.
The technology opens up a whole new world in education, and so it allows children to experience education beyond just what the knowledge of their classroom teacher is. We are seeing student engagement in a level that we never really saw before.
There's this wonderful sort of synergy that's happening in San Diego that I think a lot of different areas of the country could learn from. You know, how do you tap into the amazing community resources that exist in an area? University partners, thought partners, and researchers are coming into the schools and helping to really stand that work up. That's huge.
The University of San Diego has been a big player, and they provide research, but also resources to help train teachers and provide professional development.
We want to make sure that our students are prepared to work in the jobs in the priority sectors here in San Diego. We also want to make sure they have access and opportunity to be globally competitive.
The Classroom of the Future Foundation connects local businesses and industry with K-12. And then partners like Educators Co-op and Code to the Future help our teachers develop a vision for what they want to do with their kids. We need to have people in classrooms helping teachers alongside them, and without Code to the Future and Educators Co-op, that wouldn't be possible.
The relationship that we have with the Cajon Valley School District is really an ideal model for what a partnership between a company and a district should look like.
When we all put our toys in the middle, we can play a lot more games.
We bring the best of the educational research from the past, the present, and the predictable future. As the teachers innovate and educate and learn from each other, from their thought partners, the students become more innovative.
So the vision for our district first starts with equity. We want to be able to build and enrich our communities so that they're able to support the students, not just at school, but at home as well.
We're really working to personalize learning for students so that as parents are looking for alternatives that match their students' interests, they can get a quality education and at the same time pique that passion of the students.
In Cajon Valley, they have lots of students from Iraq, from Afghanistan, from war-torn areas, and they're coming here and they are all of a sudden recognizing that there are these incredible opportunities that they now have access to. The first bilingual computer science academy in the US is in Cajon Valley.
Cajon Valley students come from a variety of places, different socioeconomic backgrounds as well as ethnic backgrounds.
We're providing these students an opportunity that they wouldn't otherwise get. If we just give them a workbook, they're only going to be stuck here in El Cajon. If we give them a computer, they can open up Google and they can go anywhere. So the more we can provide our students in technology and the more support we can provide our teachers in technology, the more these students will have to provide for their future, their family's future, and we'll grow El Cajon and grow Cajon Valley. And that's what we want to do, is to build a better future for our students.
One of the questions I get is how? How have we made such rapid progress in changing our cultures, changing our schools? And I think the answer is in that first one, culture. And so we're not all the way there yet, but 3 years ago, we put this PDF out on the changing role of the district office. Traditional district offices, most of them across the country, decide what to do and tell what should happen in our classrooms. The role of the district office should be to ask, what should we do? And engage all the stakeholders in a dialogue about what's best for kids and how best to achieve that. The other thing a district office should do is work on culture. Our job is to make your working conditions so good that you could be your best self for our kids. So when I look at the things that we did, and actually looking at the pictures over the last 3 years, it's conversations that you've had with each other, with your principals, with your site councils, with your parents. The changes that happen in all of our schools have all been your work. And it makes me so proud to represent you. And so one of the things we do is try to create opportunities for all of us to do things together, like this breakfast. Thank you for showing up today. We're going to be having a couple TEDx events that we hope to have you all out again so that we can be a district, not individual schools, but a collective. And at the district office, we're trying to create opportunities for all employees to actually touch students, but also be recognized for their hard work. So we have a ton of people that work tirelessly through the summer to provide schools and facilities and resources and food and things for our schools to run. And this video was supposed to be released today. 10 News couldn't wait. But district office staff got together to welcome back teachers, but this is also to recognize our district office staff for the hard work they do. Enjoy.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. All through my city, all through my home. We're flying up, no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, 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 come on. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop, stop, stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling, yeah. So keep dancing. Oh, yeah, yeah. I can't stop the. I can't stop the.
Hey. So a little backstory on the video. About a month and a half ago, Naomi sent out an email, said, anybody who's working over the summer at the district office or a management team, come to this super secret lunch. We have a secret to reveal. And then everybody came more curious about the idea than the tacos that we served, but we said, we're gonna make a music video to welcome back our sites. And a few people in the room laughed and smiled, and a few people were like, do we have to? And then anyone who showed up came and participated, and I think this is a challenge to sites to see, what can you do? I'm saying. But also, I think this is gonna be an annual tradition and invite everybody at the district office to come back and try to outdo themselves. And this was, connecting to this last part of our program, this was an idea. Kind of a scary idea. Let's make a music video. What would that look like? Let's have a TEDx event. What would that look like? Let's start a one-to-one program. What would that look like? Let's have a welcome back breakfast. We haven't had one in decades. What would that look like? Would people even come? But these are ideas, and ideas are scary. Ideas are messy, because usually the first time you try something, it doesn't work out the way you plan it. And I'm gonna share one short story before I bring on our keynote speaker. This is Elon Musk in a 3-minute clip from 60 Minutes about his ideas.
Only 4 entities have launched a space capsule into orbit and successfully brought it back: the United States, Russia, China, and Elon Musk. This Buck Rogers dream started years ago when he had a nutty idea to fly an experimental greenhouse to Mars, but he couldn't. He discovered that the price of rockets was astronomical, so now he builds his own.
I had so many people try to talk me out of starting a rocket company. It was crazy.
What did they tell you?
One good friend of mine collected a whole series of videos of rockets blowing up and made me watch those. He just didn't want me to lose all my money.
He never did launch that greenhouse, but now Musk is lofting commercial satellites and flying cargo to the space station for NASA at a fraction of the former cost. Musk's fascination with technology dates to his childhood in South Africa.
He just found everything interesting. He wanted to explore everything, knocked his teeth out because he was just falling off stuff. Kimball too, actually.
We spoke with his mother, May, sister Tosca, and brother, Kimball.
He's a guy with unlimited ambition.
Ambition to do what?
Not a typical type of ambition.
Yeah.
It's more like he just needs to be constantly, his mind just needs to be constantly fulfilled. And the problems that he takes on, therefore, need to become more and more complex over time in order to keep him interested.
He was interested in computers early. At the age of 12, he wrote the software for a video game and sold it. Against his parents' wishes, he set his sights on the software capital of the world.
It seemed like the vast majority of such things came from the United States. I also read a lot of comic books, and they all seem to be set in the United States. So it's like, well, this is a good place. This is where I got to go to this place.
He earned degrees in business and physics at the University of Pennsylvania and asked his brother to join him in California.
When we moved to Silicon Valley, we had nothing. So we actually lived in the office. And we would sleep on the floor in the evening and go shower at the YMCA the next morning. And then we would be ready to go before some of our employees would arrive, so they wouldn't think we were actually sleeping in the office.
In that office, Musk invented a program that gave step-by-step directions between addresses. That's common today in cars and phones, but in 1995, it was magic. In 4 years, he made $22 million.
Only in America.
Right, only in America, I agree, absolutely.
Next, he started an online banking firm that he grew into PayPal, a system for making purchases on the internet.
And you sold PayPal to eBay for what?
It was about $1.5 billion. So that was it was a good outcome.
A good outcome?
Yes.
His share was $180 million, and he bet it all on Tesla and SpaceX. But at the age of 37, he hit rock bottom. His first rockets failed to reach orbit, and an early model Tesla Roadster had quality problems.
In 2008, the rocket company is not going well. You've had 3 failures.
Great.
The car company is hemorrhaging money.
Yeah.
And the American economy has tanked in the worst recession since the Great Depression.
Right.
What was that year like for you?
And I'm getting divorced, by the way. add to that. That was definitely the worst year of my life.
To save Tesla, Musk needed millions more from investors. His fortune was gone.
When we'd call people and say, hey, would you like to invest? They'd be angry that we just called. It's like, no, it's not only no, and various expletives.
He was essentially broke.
Oh yeah, in debt, more than broke.
More than broke.
Yeah.
I remember waking up the Sunday before Christmas in 2008 and thinking to myself, man, I never thought I was someone who could ever be capable of a nervous breakdown. But I felt this was the closest I've ever come, because it seemed pretty dark.
It's a great story, but the reason I share that with you is I've learned a lot from the TED organization and this man, Chris Anderson. And in chapter 1 of his book, he talks about Elon's ideas, but his ability to communicate. So he had invested all his money in Tesla and SpaceX. And so Tesla was failing. He had a warehouse full of cars he couldn't sell because the battery wasn't working. And the spaceships he put up into space blew up before it reached the stratosphere. And so as they watched, I think it was the 4th flight in 2008, employees were banking on this is going to save us and we'll win the NASA contract, which would give them billions to do the work. And as they watched the rocket ship go up, all anxious and in anticipation, as it broke through the stratosphere, there were cheers, and then it burst into flames. And at that moment, what he said made all the difference. He walked into his employee's workspace and said, you know, guys, no one said this is going to be easy. After all, it is rocket science. But today, we did something that very few countries have done and something that no other business has done. We reached the stratosphere, and I'm proud of that. And I want you to know that for my part, I will never quit. And as he walked out, his employees would have run through a wall for him. And the point is that it's good ideas, but the willingness to stand by them, but most importantly, the ability to communicate so that they resonate with people and creates more ideas. And that's one of the things we learned with our TED program. These kids started with passions. What are they interested? Social media, Jim Patrick in the middle, math, and Carly, music. And they turned their ideas into research projects. They read, they write, they studied, and then turned their projects into talks. And what we've learned about some of these kids is in a world short of mentors, kids can be great mentors to each other. Let's end the war in Iraq. Let's end the war in Afghanistan. One of our speakers, his father I sat next to, he's an Afghanistan refugee, came from war, and he described, I love America, but I want to go back to Afghanistan one day so I can make Afghanistan more like America. And his father, tears running down his face. It's just the opportunity to put our kids in a position to think, to generate ideas, and then to cultivate those ideas into talk. Rhetoric, the missing piece. In our digital connected age, we need to teach our kids to listen and to speak so that it matters. And so I'm going to play one more video before I bring up our speaker. The TED organization actually made this for us and played that at their last TED conference.
TED-Ed is the education initiative for TED, and our work focuses on how do we spread the ideas of teachers and students around the world.
This TED-Ed process starts with students. What do you care about? What are your ideas? What matters to you in the world?
We started with our TEDx Kids at El Cajon event in 2015. We wanted to make a bigger impact for our community, and we wanted to get more kids involved. So at every school site, we offered a TED Ed Club, and we had a great response.
Our TED Ed Clubs program is focused on getting students to share their ideas.
TED Ed Club, it's amazing. It will help you so much.
TED Ed Clubs are a way for teachers to bring the TED curriculum to students. Kids learn to take their ideas into a solution-based approach to something in the world, and then take that idea and turn it into a presentation, and then a presentation into a performance.
We are kind of teaming up, sharing each other's ideas, making like a huge change around the world that you're like really passionate about.
We asked several teachers to present a TED Talk at TEDx El Cajon Ed. So many of those teachers got to experience what it's going to be like on stage, and then share with the students and help the students prepare even more.
Clubs are meeting each other, so we have kids in San Diego meeting kids in India, meeting kids in Poland, meeting kids in Israel, all on the same call.
These kids are teaching each other how to be tolerant, how to be inclusive, how to be confident.
We had 400 students that signed up at the beginning of the year. We had 150 students apply to be TEDx speakers, and we're down to our favorite 20 speakers. We are putting them on a global stage at TEDx Kids at El Cajon.
You get to learn what you can do around the world and change it, and you can change something that you're really passionate about.
There is something really powerful about everybody in one community coming together and asking students what they care about.
They have built presentation literacy that will last them a lifetime.
That sense of pride, that sense of progress, that sense of achievement, they should keep with them forever.
The possibilities are endless. With TED Ed Club, the creativity is never ending. The box, you're going to be way out there. You might be 5 billion miles away from it. Forget about the box.
So the TED organization is really excited about the work we're doing, and they've given us permission to use their curriculum in all of our classes without having to apply to be a TED Ed Club. And you'll be learning more about that opportunity shortly from our coordinator of education technology and TEDx organizer. I'm going to introduce Liz Lother. And she's going to introduce our keynote speaker.
Thank you, David. As you can see, we've had a lot of recognition for our TED initiatives, including presentation literacy and the TEDx event. Through that, we've had great ideas shared from Hillsdale and social media, Madison and math, Blossom Valley and blessing bags, Rios and computer science, and we've appreciated all of you and your help in highlighting those students. We received many positive comments from our parents, community members, and speakers, and I want to read you one of the positive comments that came from a speaker's parent, including a comment from one of the audience members. It reads, "I would just like to thank you all for giving Brynjar a chance to share his message and participate in the TEDx Kids at El Cajon event. This was Brynjar's first time in the US. We enjoyed every moment and are so grateful. 8 years ago, he was not able to speak or communicate at all. Now seeing him on stage sharing his story is simply a miracle. The comments he got after the talk has given us many happy tears. Here is a comment that is worth everything, and I thank you for making it happen for us." And the audience members comment, "Today I met you and your mother. Today you helped us break a barrier I had no idea how to break. Today you changed someone's world by being who you are, more than one person's world. Thank you. That is what I really tried to tell you, but I couldn't express. Thank you for showing up and presenting at our TEDx Kids at El Cajon event. Thank you for being able to express yourself so beautifully, so that my son looks over and asks, 'Is that what my sister has?' Thank you for being able to break the barrier to my son, to help him understand even a little about his sister. Why what I do with him and his younger sister is different than with his middle sister. We are still testing and hoping and figuring out my middle child. But you were able to be the understanding voice to my son. That there is a reason I do things different and that his sister is different. But my biggest thank you is for helping my son to understand that his sister is beautiful and perfect the way she is, and there is nothing to fix. You hit his heart hard with compassion and empathy, that he was relating to his own life. My son does not have autism, but he was able to relate and become a better person, son, and brother because of your story and presentation. And the letter ends. After the TEDx event in April, we were so encouraged by Brynjar's talk that we wanted to bring him back and share him with all of you and his message. So please welcome to the stage, Brynjar Karl.
I have learned that everyone has a special talent or an X factor. That is another word for something special. That's something special that makes us all unique and is why no other two persons are the same. I'm sure you have a very interesting X factor. We all have one. The question is, when will we find it? You may have found yours already, but if not, you'll definitely find it soon. I found my X factor when I was 10 years old, and I really want to share that story with you because that's when everything changed for me. But first, I would like to tell you about myself. My name is Brynjar Karl. I was born on the 20th of January 2003 in Reykjavik, Iceland. I was born with 10 fingers and 10 toes, just like most of us. I got bigger and learned new things just like little children do. And nothing pointed to the fact that I would be any different from other children. I learned to smile, point, and crawl, and finally to walk. I started going to the kindergarten when I was 2 years old, and I got a cut on my forehead, just like most boys get. I got really good eating with spoon. Sometimes I even ate stuff you're not supposed to eat, like sand, flowers, soap, and of course, boogers. I learned all the letters of the alphabet and how to put them together and create words. Everything seemed normal. But when I turned 3, something happened inside my brain, which was going to change everything. Suddenly, I couldn't say all the things I wanted to say. All the words I had learned disappeared into a fog, and so did I. I felt behind, trapped in my fog. The words wouldn't come out right, and I wasn't able to put them together correctly. I changed from a happy boy into an unhappy and lonely boy. Instead of smiles, there were tears. My teachers tried many different ways to help me, but they couldn't find a way to reach into my fog. Neither did my family. When I turned 5, my mom took me to see the doctor. It was a special kind of doctor who could find out why I had disappeared into a fog. I had to take all kinds of tests, some hard and some easy. The doctor found out that I have something called autism. When I got the diagnosis, I was too young to understand what autism was, so my mom decided to wait a while before explaining it to me. But thankfully, my family and teachers found out there were a lot of ways to make my life in the fog better. For example, it was much easier for me to understand pictures and signs instead of words. So that method was used from then on to explain things in the kindergarten and later on in school. And my fog slowly got thinner. When I was 9 years old, my mom and my big sister explained to me that I had autism. I remember feeling worried because I didn't really know what autism was and that meant for me. I asked my mom if there was a pill to cure autism, but she explained there's no medicine to cure autism, and also that no one knows why some people get it and some don't. It's hard for me to explain how it is to have autism because I've always had it, so I don't know anything else. I don't even know what it is to be normal, whatever normal means. There are also many different kinds of autism. Some people with autism need to be in special schools because they need a lot of help. But others, like me, can stay in normal school with some extra help. Kids with autism often misunderstand words. It can be very hard for me to understand the correct meaning of words, like cat got your tongue. How can a cat get your tongue? Seems impossible and silly. Hold your horses. I don't have any horses. Even if I had there's no way I could hold them. It's a piece of cake. Where's the cake? Give me the cake. It can also be difficult to make friends when you have autism, because then you don't know the right way to behave with other people. That makes playing in a group pretty tricky. We often feel more comfortable playing on the computer or somewhere else there's peace and quiet. We who have autism can sometimes be a bit repetitive, but I can tell you that is a good thing, because when you do things over and over again, you get really good at them. For example, I have really good building with Lego. I've been building Legos ever since I can remember, and I've become a talented Lego builder. Then there's my other talent. I've studied ships a lot, and the bigger the ship is, the more I know about them. These two interests, ships and Lego, would become my X factor. When I was 10 years old, I had learned everything there was to know about a certain ship called the Titanic. For those who don't know it, Titanic was one of the largest steam engine ships in the world. It was 269 meters long and 28 meters wide. It was really magnificent. Titanic sank in the North Atlantic 1912, 15th of April, after colliding an iceberg. I had read about the Titanic. I had drew the Titanic. I have baked a Titanic cake. I have finished a Titanic jigsaw puzzle. I have built a model of the Titanic. I have dreamt about the Titanic. Then one day, I decided that I wanted to build the Titanic out of Lego in the same scale as the original ship, given that a Lego man was the same scale as an average person. I just had to build that amazing ship, and there was not a doubt in my mind that I could do it. And this decision became my new obsession. But my obsession helped me to the finish line. My grandfather helped me create Lego instructions by using the original Titanic blueprints. When we had scaled it to Lego man size, we were able to estimate the amount of bricks needed to build the ship. I managed to raise enough money to buy all the Lego bricks with crowdfunding. Thank you. It took me 11 months and 700 hours to build my 6.5 meter long dream ship, using over 56,000 bricks. I came every day after school to build, and I had visitors giving me a helping hand. But what's more important, and why I stand here on this stage, is what I discovered. It was much bigger than my ship. I learned what really drove me to the finish line. And it was not only my obsession. This discovery is for all of us that are chasing a dream and would like to turn it into reality. Number one, you have to believe. And I really believed that I could build the Titanic. Number two, you need the right team to help you get you there. And I had my family. Number three, never, never, never give up. There will be obstacles, but you will overcome them with the help of your team and you believe. Like I said, there's no pill to cure autism. And I don't know if in my lifetime there'll ever be a cure. But if that would happen, I don't know if I want to take that pill. I'm fine with having autism. As long as you're okay with me being different, I'm perfectly okay. Being different is not so terrible. I want to believe it's more interesting. The good news is that we who have autism can train our weaknesses and become stronger citizens. I'm a living proof, and many other. Autism does not have to be a negative thing. It can be a gift. It all depends on how we look at it, and I prefer to look at it as a positive thing. Thank you.
Brynjar, you brought a member of your team with you to San Diego?
Yeah, I brought my grandfather, and he's actually over there.
I understand you got to see a ship while you were here in San Diego.
Oh yeah, I saw the Midway, and I saw the Queen Mary. Love it.
And your grandfather said that you knew everything about the ship and took him on the tour before you even got there.
Yes, I came here in April. I got a bit of a tour on the ship, but what really came to me on the Midway is because I play a game called World of Warships, free to play. And actually, the game teaches, I play the game and it teaches me history about battleships, and the Midway was there. So I learned all the history from battleship from America, Japan, Russia, and German. So I learned all the history from that, and yeah.
And so your studies about ships have given you some ideas about careers, about jobs you might want to have later on?
Yeah. My career is to live in San Diego because it's because I live in Iceland, so that doesn't have a real. It has a really small harbor, so just only what I can see is just like ships you can fish. There's just fish, nothing else. Because San Diego, California, I'm not joking, California is my favorite favorite of all time, just favorite. And actually, yeah, I want to, what my career is to I want to own my ship. Build my own ship in here, and it can only, one name is come for me if I want let's say a Navy ship, or say a Coast Guard. What I would call it is USS Kraken, if I want to call that. That's what I found. But the other one was, it's supposed, when I was younger, if I want to call a ship, it was going to call, I don't know what it's called in English, but it's Thor's hammer. Thor's hammer. I don't know what's called in English. Huh? Oh, okay.
So, but that was when you were younger.
That was when I was younger.
And you're 13 now?
Yeah.
Well, we can't wait to have you in San Diego permanently. Let's please give one more round of applause for Brynjar Karl. Thank you very much. Congratulations. So ideas, and then dreams, and then goals, and then talking about them. And then the ability to give an amazing 10-minute keynote to an audience full of strangers. What if every kid in our school district had that opportunity? What would they leave to the Grossmont High School District ready to do, or for the world around them? And so this year is a year about conversations. We're leaving an era of compliance, at least we are in Cajon Valley, so that we can have innovation and our ideas can become realities. So we'll talk about the world of work, which is changing all the time. If our kids wanted to grow up and have a job in East County, what's available to them? Did you know that we have one of the best advanced manufacturing industries in the world here? There are lots of things about our own community and business community in our development areas that we need to educate our kids about. In San Diego, there are 5 priority sectors in the world of work. What are those? And can our kids learn about them before they leave us? And then the United Nations has global priorities about where the future jobs are. If we start by asking those questions, then our lens about our assessments will be different. Our lens about curriculum will be different. And these are scary conversations to have. Big, ugly ideas that will take us somewhere else. But I'm excited. Thank you for coming. And as we normally do, we finish with Cajon Valley Pride. Last year, we showed pictures of our school logos. We did something a little bit different this year. I think you'll like it. And Blossom Valley and Anza, you come up first, and it's quick, just giving you a heads up. But let's take a look at our district. So tomorrow we serve children with autism. We serve children who are coming from war-torn countries. We serve children that were born and raised here, generations past. And at the end of the day, these are all our kids. So let's give them a big hug and wrap our arms around them as we welcome them back as a school district. And as we welcome you, welcome back to School Cajon Valley.